Hi guys, today we will be building a 5-inch freestyle basher quad. So all the parts that we'll be using today are the Apex Impulse RC Apex 5 frame. It's a clone. I recommend the TBS Source 1 because don't get these cheap clone frames. I got scammed. This is the SpeedyBee F405 stack. Then we have the iFlight Express LRS 2.4 GHz receiver, the Caddx Vista with the Nebula Pro camera, and the T-Motor Velox V3 motors. These are a 6S at 1750 kV. So just to clarify, this quad is like a 6S freestyle bash build, and it can easily be converted to like a cinematic build by switching the Vista for like a O3 and then using the O3 antennas like long stalk antennas, and maybe like switching the receiver out to Crossfire or like a 900 megahertz Express LRS. So let's get on with the build. So we'll first start off with the frame, I guess. So just dump all your stuff out of the frame. It's gonna be like a slam build, this frame. You're gonna be needing a 2mm hex driver. And let's start with this frame is a split deck. So on the bottom, it has a split deck bottom plate. So just put it all to the side. And here's your bottom plate. So you get the one without the press nuts. And then you take your arms. The arms have a press nut inside. You just put the arm down and you use a screw. I'm not sure what's the length. Wait 1 second. So thank you to my Bambu Labs A1 for this screw millimeter thing. So the screw is M3 by 8mm screw. So first you just thread it through the bottom in the hole. Take your arm, place it on with the press nut facing up. Take your driver and just crank that down. Don't make it too tight. You could use Loctite, but I ran out of Loctite just for the arm to stay there. Now just do this for all the arms. But first we have to do it for like the second arm first. So now we did this to the second arm. It's of course not stiff yet. So we need this like stiffener plate. It's a tiny little plate. Not sure if my camera is gonna focus or not. Come on, camera, focus. Camera, come on. Okay, there it is. So just place it in and put another arm on with another M3 by 8 screw. They're the shortest screws that are M3 in the bag. And just screw them in. Do this for the remaining arm and you'll have your bottom plate and your arms attached. So now it's quite stiff, but there's some jiggliness. So you take your mid bottom plate thing, and you have to put your stack screws in. So the good thing about this is there's like countersunk holes. So for your stack screws, they are M3 by, let's see, M3 by 16 stack screws. We'll be using a 30 by 30 flight controller stack. So we just put these stack screws in. You won't be able to access them when you put the frame together, which is a downside, but they won't come loose because they're like pressed up against the arms. So now just flip it over and get your longer M3 screws. They are the M3 by 12 screws. And just thread them through the armholes. They should go in quite nicely. Wait, okay. They should go in right now. If these screws don't go in, just wiggle the arms a little bit. Maybe get your driver and tap them through. And then just, okay. Hold the screws and then place them on and thread this screw in. There's a press nut on the other side. which will grab it and sandwich the arms together. So this arm's super stiff now, and that stack screw has no wiggle at all. So repeat this for the remaining screw holes, and then we can put our stack on. So since we built the frame already, at least the bottom part of the frame, identify where's the front, which is the lower part of the split deck frame, which is this side. Point it away from you. Now we can preheat our iron. For these ESCs, I usually go for like maybe 370 degrees Celsius, which is like 700 Fahrenheit. But usually I just go for the max, which is 450 degrees Celsius, which is like 840 Fahrenheit, I think. So you have to be quick with it if you're gonna do it very hot, but I don't recommend it because you could just burn it up. So put your ESC down, preheat your iron. I'm gonna set mine to 450C and clean your tip. So now we're going to tin all the pads. I like to tin them on the actual frame because it doesn't move as much. So to tin these pads, we first get some flux. This is a flux pen, and just like draw on all the pads, including the little XT60 lead pads. If you want to use a capacitor, you could thread them through these holes and you can solder them on, which is easy. But I'd like to use my excess motor wires and put it up front because I will use a spike absorber. So now your soldering iron is burning hot, and you take your solder. Ooh, I got a new roll of solder. Okay. This is Rosin Core 6040 solder. It's very nice. It has some flux inside. And to tin them, first you need to wet your tip. I should really clean my desk. Okay. So first you're gonna wet your tip. Ooh, that was close. Okay, wet your tip, which is put some solder onto the tip. You'll see how much I shake. Do not breathe that stuff in. I don't think it's good for you. So now when your tip is wet, you just put it onto the pad, right? And then flow some solder onto it. Shake it around and then come off. It should be very quick. I did slow for you guys, but it should be much quicker than that. Repeat these for all the motor pads and also the ESC pads. I'll just demonstrate the ESC, or not the ESC, the power pads. It's a big pad, so maybe longer, and put a bunch of solder on there. Don't be afraid because we'll need it. Sometimes there's gonna be some blobs of flux or solder onto that. Just be careful, you might burn yourself. So you should have a lot of solder on there. If you want to be safe, take some electrical tape and cover up the ESC. I never killed the ESC that way from a little blob of solder, so you do you. It should be nice and shiny, so do these for all of them. And now we can, after that we can put the motors on. So now once you tinned all these up, I usually just wait for it to cool down. Is it still hot? Yeah, it is kind of. Take the ESC off. Oh, that is hot, wow. Take your ESC off and place it somewhere else. Take your hot soldering iron and place it somewhere far away so you don't get burned. So now, special time, we get to put our motors on. So I'll just demonstrate one. I'll be using these T-motor motors. The Velox motors or budget motors, they're very nice. Solid core windings. They come with these screws. Let's see. I don't have scissors. I have these wire strippers though. Let's get them. Wire cutters, not wire strippers. There it is. Let's see the length. So these are the M3 by, is it 9 millimeters? It's like longer than 8. It's cap head screw, so you'll be needing to use your 2.5 millimeter driver. I usually just buy these other screws, which are the same cap head, but they're like, let's see. They are these cap head screws, which are M3 by 10. So 1 millimeter longer, because I keep walking up. I usually use them with these 3D printed quad skids from Rotor Riot. So you can just thread the screws through, place them in the arm. If you're nitpicky like me, you would face the Rotor Riot quad skid arrow skull thing away from the arms because it looks nice. Doesn't have any function, just looks nice. And get more of your screws, but first do just one. Make sure you route your wires the right way. Then get your driver, 2.5 millimeter hex, and then just, why is it squeaking? That's too tight. Just slowly thread them in. Don't make it too tight because then it'll be a struggle. You could use Loctite. I really should, but I don't have any. So we're going to do what we go with what we have. So repeat these for all the motors and all the motor screws. Also, make sure that none of the motor screws, when you screw them in, are touching these windings, the copper windings of the motor. If they touch, they will short to the carbon and you will destroy the motor. So don't do that. Learn from my mistakes. Don't do that, and just screw them in as tight as you can. Well, not too tight, of course. Don't strip them out, but like tight enough, and make sure they don't protrude over the motor base. I like usually I go up maybe like 0.5 millimeter, but I think that's like the maximum. Yeah, maximum that it'll be safe for the motor. If it's more than that, get different length motor screws or use these 3D printed quad skids from Rotor Riot or buy from them. These are Petchy. So do these for all the motors. Also, got lazy with the screwdriver, so you can use a drill. And in the T-motor screw baggies, keep the prop nut. There's a prop nut in there, keep it. You'll need to use it for your props. So yeah. Okay, so now your motors are all on. So I guess it's time to mount the Vista because we're gonna be running the Vista wire under the ESC because yes, it's I don't know, more protection from it. I don't want the Vista breaking. So here's the Vista with the Nebula Pro camera. You could also use O3. It's basically the same. This is just older. So I'll be mounting it with some Scotch Extreme mounting tape. You can also use the screws. In the frame, it comes with some like M2 long screws for this. I don't use them because I want a more soft mounted Vista, and I usually just like, if I'm scared it's gonna fall off, just put a zip tie around it. So FPV. So let's find the end of this tape. Shouldn't be that hard, it's thick. Some very sticky Scotch Extreme mounting tape. Just cut off the end because the end's not sticky for some reason. Okay, now it's sticky, wow. Okay, so I usually take like 2 strips of this stuff and then run the wires. I really should plan my builds, but I don't. So just put that there, it's not even, okay. So it's uneven, but it's fine. We're building a FPV drone, not a plane. I still managed to crash my plane. Here's a clip of that.
Ooh, ขึ้นนะเนี่ย
Yeah, I know. I'm a pro plane pilot. Okay, so tape, come on, come off. Okay, when you get the tape covers off, you can stick your air unit onto the back of the frame. Okay, finally got the tape off, so I need to plan this. Okay, so this get your front plates and stick them up the front. Don't pinch any of your motor wires. I usually just like route them under the arms so they get out of the way. These annoying motor wires. And then it all falls apart. Okay. Okay, I'll just go with it. Put your front plates on. Make sure you have enough length for your wire. Don't mount it upside down. Cadex FPV facing up. So that goes there. Oh, tons of room. Just like as much up tilt as I want. Make sure it's centered up. Oh, there's not enough room for the standoff, so let's move it back. Oh, that's too much back. Okay, looks pretty good. I'll just stick it down. I can always peel it back up if I messed up. I hope I didn't mess up. Just put pressure for like 10 seconds, I think. Okay, that's pretty tight. So, ESC time. Dude, I really should get some electrical tape and cover up this wire because I'm probably gonna burn it up if any solder blobs get onto it. So, remove the plates and it's time to solder up the ESC. Let's go. So first, I'm going to electrical tape this wire, the whole wire. It also makes it like not move around when the quad's built. I got way too much electrical tape. Wow, okay. Careful with your scissors, people. So just I just tape it like that. I'll tape the front also. Oh, perfect. Okay. Because I don't want the wire getting melted by a solder blob. Is it solder or solder? I have no idea. Okay. That looks good to me. So this is a 20 millimeter standoff. Wait, the standoffs we're going to be putting on is 20 millimeters, so kind of a slammed build. Let's put our ESC on temporarily. Do we have enough space? I'd say we kind of do. It's just getting stuck on the diode and the cable thing. The diode and the cable thing on the bottom. No. Yeah, the cable harness plug-in thing. So just like move it out of the way. Should really plan my build, but well, okay, that looks better. So you have to look all the time to see if it's, oh, I don't want to smack that camera. Okay. Oh, there's tons of room. And when I crash and explode my ESC, I'm gonna look back on this and say, oh, I should have added like a spacer or something. I really, a metal spacer on this thing. It's fine. Oh, we don't need a spacer. Okay. So now for your frame, get these M3 by 8 screws and your short standoffs. These standoffs are 20 millimeters. Yeah, I said that already. I knew that. Okay. So just through the hole and thread them up just to see if there's any clearance issues. Get your XT60 cable. If you didn't know, it's under your SpeedyBee stack in the packaging. They give you a pre-tinned and everything XT60. Is my soldering iron still on? Yes, it is. That's dangerous. Okay. XT60. Smack that on there, out the side. Battery plug, it looks pretty good. So I need to solder it basically straight on. Maybe zip tie it to the standoff for stress relief when the battery pops out. And yeah, looks pretty good. So take this out, put the drone to the side. ESC time. So first we need to tin all these. So usually I take my big pair of tweezers, cross-lock tweezers, very nice. Then get my small, where did I put my small oh my god. Tweezers, okay. Let's tin them up. So to tin them, we need our solder. hot soldering iron. For this, I recommend still 370 Celsius. I'm going for 450 Celsius because for me, the hotter the better. Don't breathe that stuff in. Wet your tip. And just wait for it to liquefy, and then just flow some solder on there. That's how you tin. Do that for the other one also. And remove. Oh, blob just got on me. Okay. So if you burn yourself, be careful. Don't try not to burn yourself because it does hurt. You'll get a blister from it at the very least. So those are slightly over tinned, but they're pretty good. Okay, I'm not sure if it focused or not. And let's solder this up. Oh, okay, we'll solder this up first and then we'll solder our capacitor. So it's gonna go like this. I like one over the other, so our negative wire needs to be slightly shorter. So let's see how much shorter. We can always eyeball this. It's that much shorter, okay? Cut it. Okay, just had to use 2 hands there because the solder went into the joint and it made it hard as a rock. So, oh, that's perfect, okay. Now just take your fingernail or take this thing, cut the silicone, spin it around, cut it up, and try not to break any strands. That's pretty nice. And we're gonna re-tin them. So, tweezers, iron, wet the tip, don't breathe the stuff in. Put that on. Just tin. The wire should absorb that really nicely. Clean your tip. And that's a pretty good tin. So, iron, careful. Take your, I usually just grab that gummy. And this, you have to think. So the black wire is going to go over the red wire, so we have to solder up the red wire first. So for that, we just need bump the heat up to the max. And for this is going to be quite a hard joint because it's huge. So just place it. I heat the bottom first. Suddenly completely forgot how to solder. Okay. Heat the bottom first, get the bottom heat up in liquid. Why is my iron not hot? Okay. It's awkward for me because there's a camera in my face. Get the bottom heated up. And when it's heated up, take your XC60 and just apply a little bit of pressure. And hold it there. Should be a clear bubble. Let's see how that turned out. Okay, it turned out pretty good, but it's slightly oxidized, so I usually go over with my flux pen and flow a little bit more solder on. Sometimes the joint pops off, which is really annoying, but this one shouldn't. Oh yes, it is, okay. So let's redo that. I try to get the perfect joint and it always pops off, so get that off. Bottom liquid already. Just flow that joint. Apply some pressure. Keep it there. Oh, I messed up, okay. So, you really don't want this ESC moving around. Ah, that is hot, okay. You really don't want that ESC moving around. And apply some pressure. Get the bottom a little bit. Apply some pressure down. Let go. Let cool. And that's your joint. That's a really bad joint. Okay. Let's try this angle instead. I really struggle with these big joints because they're big. Put that on. It's sketchy. Just Apply some downwards force, not too hard because you don't want to splay out the wire. Okay, you can feel it liquidizing, if that's the word. Yeah, I just made it worse. Okay, so let's try that again. Okay, found the perfect angle. I need to weigh this down somehow though. How should I weigh this down? What's heavy here? Oh, I'll just use my arm. Tweezer, finger. Oh, this is gonna be hot. Place that down. Apply some pressure. Take a little bit of solder, wet the tip. Forgot about that. Place it down. It needs more downward pressure. Arm. Down, down, down. Come on. Hot iron. Yeah, I'm not happy with that. Seriously? Okay, I'll redo that whole thing. We're gonna solder this voltage wire. For the XC60 to solder this, I just I didn't wet my tip, it's fine. So you take your hot soldering iron, the bottom a little bit, touch it so it's liquidized, then move your soldering iron up to the wire, place it downwards pressure a little bit, and bring it up. It's not perfect, but it's good enough. Sometimes I do this, I add a little bit more solder on top. Don't breathe it in, make it look nicer. There it is, okay. That's what I'm happy with. So, just place the soldering iron away. Oh, my soldering iron reset it, okay. Okay, so it should look like a nice shiny bubble like this. Camera, focus. Nice shiny bubble. I do struggle with these big joints because they're big. And now, since this is going on top, I should really solder my capacitor. So this capacitor I'm using is like a Rubicon 1000 microfarad big fat capacitor pairing with this spike absorber board. So I take my capacitor, thread the legs through, make sure the negative is on. Oh, I did it the wrong way. Okay. Make sure the negative side's on the negative side. It says clearly on the cap. If not, then the capacitor will explode like a little pop. So now let's see how I'm gonna do this. So I'll fold the legs of the capacitor, and in the capacitor there's a little like hole that you can just solder a little bit to, which is easy. Hot iron. Place your iron down, just a little bit of solder. Very nice. Just a little bit of solder. It should be a nice shiny bubble. Don't breathe that stuff in. And it should be on and have this nice little shiny little bubble. Come on, camera, focus. Should be a nice little bubble. So now we can just cut these wires off, put them away so it doesn't randomly short something. And now I take my big crosslock tweezers, place them on the bottom, and we tin these pads because we're gonna get some excess motor wire and connect them to our ESC. So just tin them real quick. Hot iron, place it on, solder very quickly. If you're quick enough, the capacitor won't fall off. You can tug on it to see if it fell off. It didn't, which is good. So now we take our motor wires, excess motor wires. So let's see what I have. Ooh, got a bunch. You can use any wire. Why did I get 3? Okay. Get some excess motor wires, or you can even like cut some off. Just like route your motor wires that you have roughly, and then like cut maybe 2 centimeters, 3 centimeters off. I think this is enough. I have to really plan this. Okay, so this will go here in the front. Okay, maybe like 9 centimeters. It'll go up front like that. So it should be enough, but it really should be longer. Okay, 1 sec. So it's like 10 centimeters worth of wire. Ooh, these are pre-tinned, nice. These are motor wires. So now you just connect them on, doesn't matter which one yet. Should be quite simple. Oh, clumsy me. Put that on, make sure it's level. Just hot soldering iron. And should be a nice joint. That's way too little solder. Okay, let's try that again. So you get a bunch of solder on there. Little hot joint. There it is, that's hot. Now, if you get those like high peaks, you could put some flux on it, or you could just wipe it off. I don't like the idea of it having high peaks and like having me wipe it off, so low flux and just a little bit so it's nice and shiny. Repeat that for the other wire. And my soldering iron reset it again, that's nice. So get it piping hot. And let's do this for the other wire. I need to show them a good example, okay. So just place that down. Is my iron on? Yes, it is. Place that down. It should heat up. That's too little solder. So get more solder on. It's easier if you have like a stand or a third hand. I don't, so we're gonna go with what we have. Just place that. And that's nice, okay. Should be a nice shiny bubble, so. That's that. So now you have to see which one's ground. Ground is this one. Power is this one. So let's go power VCC first. Strip it, tin, that's way too less. Okay, strip it, tin it, and let's put it onto, I need a vacuum after this, onto the ESC. So tin, wet tip, put on a little bit, off. You have to be quick because you don't want the wire like wicking up because that'll make it stiff. So put it back on the roll, good enough. Double check, triple check, quadruple check that it is the right one. Then I usually lower my iron heat because I don't want to kill this ESC because it's going to take a while. Or I don't want to disconnect this big fat joint. So just get the wire, place it on, and then just nice and quick down, in. Oh, that is literally nothing. Okay, let it flow a little. Maybe bridge some solder on top, like flow some solder on top. And connect it up. Okay, that's way too cold. Okay, maybe keep your heat high and then just be quick so you don't melt your joint. Usually I do everything on high heat, but I want to be a good example, so I don't know how to do this now. Okay, there it is. Put that down. That's pretty good. Do a tug test. Put your iron away. Tug test, pretty nice. It's not the perfect joint, but it's good enough for me. So, repeat this for the ground wire, tin this up, put it on, and then we can do our motor wires. Okay, without the camera rolling, it's so much easier to do this joint. So much less pressure, okay. So, just do this, tin it up. That's burning hot, so wet the tip, don't breathe it in. Tin, clean. Now, small tweezer. Let's flow some solder on top first. No bubble on top, that's not that nice, but, well, tweezer because it's gonna burn my hand. Okay. Put this on, flow it on, very nice. Tug test, very nice. That is not on properly, okay. Needs to flow a little bit. Flow in that joint so your solder connections are connected. Do the bend test, make sure this can be bent over. And your solder should be like a nice, bubbly, clear, shiny ball. And you should have your capacitor installed. So now you don't want this shorting on anything, so we can just electrical tape it up. Not that elegant, you can use heat shrink. I use electrical tape. So let's just tape this whole thing up. And motor wires. So motor wires time. Take your frame. Place your ESC the right side, so arrow pointing forward. This goes out. It's quite nice. Fit test. Very nice. No wires getting crushed. Some wires getting pushed on a little bit, but that's fine. So that's gonna be my capacitor. I did way too much wire, but that's fine. It's gonna go like that, I think. So that's gonna go like that, or like that. That looks better, but it's gonna get in the way of the camera. We'll see. Okay, so first I'll just pull this back and put it under something so it doesn't get burned. So for the motor wires, you have to route them straight. These are brushless motors, so they can spin counterclockwise and clockwise. Doesn't really matter. You can change them in the software. For the record, if you switch 2 of the motor wires to the ESC, it will reverse the motor direction, any 2 of them. So if you want to do it manually, you can, but you can do it in Betaflight and also the ESC configurator. So let's route them, cut them, and tin them up. So first, I'll tape the wires to the arm with a little bit of electrical tape. You can use a zip tie. I usually put the zip tie on top of the electrical tape, or use some race wire, the LED race wires. You just tape that up, make it nice and tidy, just like. Put that on there, very nice. Now, some people route their wires in. I don't, because I don't like taking the whole frame apart and the flight controller out of the way just to get the wires and pull them off to change the motor. So I run them directly straight like this. So down, give me a little leeway, and I think I'll cut them like right there. That was a horrible cut. This scissor is not sharp at all. I think I put my, oh, they're here, okay. So, messy desk. You can just cut these to length. Oh, that's even worse, okay. Cut these to length. Then I just like blow on them to get all the strands off, because you don't want them like shorting your electronics. This is really messy. I don't like these motor wires at all. So you do them one by one. So just strip. You can put your electrical tape over the ESC if you're scared that it's gonna, like a solder blob's gonna kill it. I usually don't, so just tin them. That's number 1. I do them one at a time. Oh, almost burnt my table, okay. So, put that there. put that on and just gently push it down, off. There's a little solder blob, just take that off. Clean your tip every time. So repeat these for all the motor wires. Get these loose strands out. And it should be nice and clean. A very clean little ball of solder. Maybe you can see it. This would be really quick. It's a nice clean ball of solder. If it's like oxidized, you put a little bit of flux on it. It'll look very nice and shiny. So do that for the rest of your motors. And let's find a way to sort this out. Okay, it's gonna go like that. Okay. Also, I forgot to say that I need to tuck this in. Each motor has 3 wires, so the pads are 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So a motor is gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4. If you don't mess around with the motor mapping, motor 1, motor 4, motor 2, motor 3, and you just direct solder them. And yeah, I had no idea where I was going with that. Okay, so now all the motors are all soldered on, so I guess we have to find a way to put this thingy. So I guess I'm gonna mount the camera now. So to mount the camera, it's just this mounting plate. Put the camera in the middle, of course. Don't cover that standoff hole. And it's gonna be, oh, it's a 1 screw hole camera. So we're gonna need to use the bottom one. That sucks. So I did not plan this build out, as you could probably see. So I guess, is there camera screws? Yes, they are. I have some camera screws. So at this point, the ESC is all done. So we just have to mount the stuff, and we can put our flight controller on, and maybe even start soldering again, because that's what we need to do as FPV people. Okay, so that's the camera. And then it's a 1.5 millimeter. So get your 1.5 millimeter driver set. Camera screw. And just put that in. I don't think let's just not do it too tight. I don't like these 1 screw camera things, because they usually just, this way, okay. They usually just like change angle in a crash. Why is the screw less? Oh, there's different lengths of screw. Okay, we're getting the screw that I think is right, which might damage the camera, but I don't think it will, because it's not that deep into it. Just screw that little boy. Oh my god, these are so fiddly. Okay, screw that. Okay, I cannot do this. It's killing me. Okay, that, and screw it in. Yay, got it. Not too much. Should be able to have some wiggle room. Put that in. Do not crush the cable. There it is. That's in pretty well. And very nice. Okay. So I don't have any space for this. So I guess we're just gonna tuck it in there and maybe like tape it down or zip tie it. Okay, so got the camera in. It's not that tight because it needs the top plate on. Well, let's just put it there, I guess. And then, okay, it needs to go in. Okay. So this would, let's just twist the wire a little bit, put some twists in it. So you don't need this long of a wire. You just need a very short wire. Let's stuff it in there. It's not gonna go anywhere. I'll just tape the bottom down. So I'll just put some Scotch Extreme mounting tape. The best tape. Something fell. Okay, mate. So, get some tape and just tape it down. You don't need much. It's not gonna go anywhere. Kane is back. Come on, tape. Okay, I'll get back to you when I finally peel this tape. Oh, wait. Maybe I'll get it. Oh, it's so close. Oh, yes, I got it. Okay, yay, okay. So just put that camera in there. Find that right angle. Just tape it in the middle. That's not going anywhere. Okay. It's a tight build. It's not a clean build, it's a tight build. Okay. Now just not pinch any wires, stuff that in there. Pretty nice. Okay, and I have no idea where the receiver will go. Probably on top of the air unit. So, let's plug the... We have to plug the ESC to the FC. And then we can put on top. So the cable is this tiny little cable. It's a stack, so it comes straight through. Just lift this thing. Oh no, okay. Move this out of the way. And got that. Just stuff this cable in. It's a straight through cable, so I think it's the right side. Should be. Okay, that's in. You can put like some glue to secure it in, but the cable should be tight. And oh, my camera fell off. Okay. We'll install the flight controller and plug this cable in. Should be simple enough. Okay. Flight controller, SpeeDB F405 V3. You can get the V4, it's more expensive, but we're running digital, so it should be fine. So plug, it says view. Focus camera. Come on. There it is. It's the top one. So plug in and put it on. Yep. Very nice. And put it on. So there's an air unit plug that they gave us. This is a nice build. Okay. So they give us like an air unit plug, but these XT60 lead is getting in the way of it. So I guess we're gonna have to solder both sides of the cable on. More soldering, great. Okay, so first, that's not going anywhere. With longer standoffs, you can put a nut on there, but since it's in the way, I don't want to compress it too much, and it's a very slam build, so I especially don't want to compress it that much. So I think I'll just leave it like that. That's not ideal, but compressing it might touch. This is why you plan your build, guys. You don't want it going like this. Yeah, there's not that much room. Well, good enough for me. So first I'll strain relief my XT60 with a little zip tie. And then I guess we're going to solder the air unit on. And then our receiver. Air unit's more important. So air unit comes with a plug. So I guess we'll use this plug because it came with it. It's nice and handy. There's also a plug that comes with the SpeeDB, but I guess we'll use this one. So let's solder it to the air unit first. On top. Maybe tape the wires down and then solder that side. So these wires are power ground. There's 2 grounds of VCC, or is it 9 volt? It's 9 volt. Then there's RX, TX, and then there's the S bus. We're not going to use the inbuilt receiver of the air unit, so let's take out the S bus pin. Or let's just not solder it because, well, yes. So, let's solder it on that way. Oh, there's solder pads on the bottom of it. So first I'll remove this thing. This is why you need to plan your, oh. Okay. I need to put the antenna on. Let me figure this out. So since we mounted the air unit right side up, the solder pads are on the bottom. So we're gonna need to solder to these tiny little pads. Okay. I can do this, okay. So let's go power first. Power, always red. Wait, we need to tin them first. Smart. Very smart, me. So I don't want to kill my air unit, so let's just go 400 degrees Celsius. Just a little bit of solder. That's already way too much. Okay. Make sure to clean your tip every time. Nice. Okay. Now just okay, so since we're mounting our wires up, we're going to solder them straight like that. And then I'll figure out the antenna thing later. Or maybe should I do it down and curve? I'll do it up, okay. Is my mic still on? Yes, it is. So, first is voltage. Let's place that. Come on, go in. There it is. Oh, that was easier than I thought. Voltage. Next is ground. There's two grounds, so ground. The first ground. Oh wow, these are so small. I take the O3 air unit plug for granted. Okay, that one needs more solder. So just follow what it says on the air unit Vista thing. My solder's unrolling. So just follow it. It's power, ground, RX to flight controller TX, and TX on this thing, the air unit to flight controller RX, and ground to ground. I'll double up this ground pad, and we won't be using S-Bus. So yeah, let's do that. So once we soldered the air unit already, gotta get the antenna out. Plug that in. We're gonna be mounting it somehow, somewhere. I have no idea. I don't like these little fiddly UFLs, but that's what I have, so I'm gonna use it. Come on, go in, UFL, please. Okay, it didn't pop as loud as I thought it would, but that's in. So now let's put that thing, flex that on top. On. Go in. Now I'll take my smallest driver and push that like retention clip in. Come on, buddy. Cooperate. Is that as in as it goes? There's no way. I don't work with Vistas a lot. I work with O3, so This is so much more fiddly. Well, that's locked in, so I'll just tighten this up. It's probably not going to go anywhere. I might put a little bit of hot glue there. Let's twist this wire up and solder it to the flight controller. So just follow the wiring, so ground, power to power, ground to ground, ground to ground, and TX to RX, RX to TX, and kaboom, that's your unit. So the pads that we will be soldering to is 9 volts, ground, I'm gonna be doubling for ground, and UART1 and T1. Oh. There's also R1, but I have to clean my tip. Okay, that's way too much solder. So let me fix that. There it is. Just take that blob off. Come on, blob. There it is. Sponge blob, square pens. Okay. Okay. Yeah, flux that one. Wait, do I need VTX? Because it's MSP DisplayPort. Let's check the wiring. We don't need VTX. Okay, skip that VTX, we don't need it. I don't have like desoldering wick, but let's wire this up. So let's tin this little power, wet tip, tin, tweezer. These are very small wires. And flow on, beautiful joint. It should always be like a nice bubble, shiny little bubble. It should be very quick because you don't want to burn these tiny little pads out. No, that's not gonna come off. Okay, so just follow the wire diagram, skip the VTX, and we don't need S-bus, so skip S-bus. Okay, now I'll just zip tie these wires. And just stuff this in the gap. Okay, so now it's time to solder on our receiver. So our receiver's Express LRS, it solders exactly the same as Crossfire. This is the old one I had. So the joints are power, ground, TXRX, and TXRX, of course, they swap on this. So on the receiver, TX goes to RX on the flight controller. So let's do that. Let's solder on power and ground first. Tin time. So we're gonna be using UART2. That's way too much solder. Don't breathe it in. Okay. So now, solder it up, and then we can do our smoke short saver test. Okay, all soldered up. Let's twist the wires, and that will be our soldering done for now. So, that's a nice spot to put the receiver. So I'll just stuff that receiver over our capacitor. And yeah, I think it'll go there. Our antenna. Okay, so first, I'll just leave the receiver hanging. We can add our standoffs. So at the back will be our shorter standoffs. At the front will be our longer standoffs. Kaput. So for the record, I'll be mounting my antenna like this because, or maybe out the side. I don't want it to get like banged too hard in a hard crash. So I need to find a way to mount it. Maybe like that. It's not going to be optimal for range at all, but this is a Basher quad, so I need a build to crash. so I have to find a way to tape it down for it to not get hit. Oh, that's nice. Okay, maybe I'll do it like that. Yeah, so that will not get hit in a crash. So just don't want to bend this UFL antenna thing. Yeah, that's pretty nice. So just tape that down like that. Okay, so I ended up mounting the antenna like that. Should be nice and secure. So that's that. Let's just... Oh, I could put a nut on there. Okay, maybe I will. So here's a little lock nut. You get your, I don't know what size this is, but just screw that on a little bit. This one has a nylon insert, but it's a slam build, so I don't think I'll need it. Oh yeah, that'll go on fine, okay. Okay, so now to, it's kind of dark. So, yeah. So now, for the receiver, I'll just tuck that in somehow. And route this antenna down and zip tie it to this arm. So it's going to be a arm mounted antenna. So let's do that. So camera died to exposure, want to change, V-Fly short saver, and a LiPo battery, 1500 4S. This is a 6S quad, but 4S battery, same thing. Let's just plug it in and let's see if it trips. Very nice. All motors beep. You get the doot at the end, so ESC communicating with the flight controller, and everything's lighting up. The Vista's lighting up, and the Express LRS is lighting up. So I guess we can put the top plate on now and beta flight time. So now the top plate's on. I recommend you guys go around and tighten all the screws, and then we can add our UlmaGrip battery pad. I'm using the Flywoo UlmaGrip clone thing. It's the same thing. It's a sticky battery pad. We can put our battery strap on and we can beta flight. So we're basically halfway done. So first we will need to bind the receiver in the quad. It's a 2.4 gigahertz Express LRS. One way to bind it is to plug it in, unplug, plug it in, unplug, and hold it in. And then you'll see the light on the receiver like flash, flash, blink, blink, like heartbeat. And that's the first way, but the second way is through Wi-Fi. The receiver will emit a Wi-Fi signal that you connect on your computer, and you go to 10.0.0.1 in your web browser. You put in your binding phrase and connect it to your radio. So that's how I'm gonna do it.
Welcome to HTX. Purple warning.
So your radio, you don't need it powered on. I just switched my model. So first you plug in. You can plug in with a USB or with the battery. What should I do? I don't want my air unit to overheat, so let's just USB. Plug your USB-C cable inside your flight controller, and then wait. You'll look at the LED when it starts blinking like really flat, very quick. I'll show you. That means you're ready. So jump cut to when that happens. Okay, so now the receiver is fast flashing inside that blue light. So you connect to the Express LRS Wi-Fi network in your laptop or computer, and then type in 10.0.0.1 in your web searching thing, your search engine, and it'll come up as a web page. And that's where you'll type in your binding phrase. Connect, please. That's where you'll type in your binding phrase, which will let you reboot it and it will save the binding phrase, and if it has the same binding phrase on your radio, it will be automatically connected. So let's just do that. Come on, do it. Okay, so now we will be going to the, what will we do? So now we're gonna be flashing the Caddx Vista. So we open the DJI Assistant 2 consumer drone, FPV drone series. And we unplug from the flight controller and we plug into the Vista, which will start it up, and then you need to plug in a battery. I plugged you in already. What are you doing? Okay, let's try that again. Plug in. So then you connect it up. Come on, connect. There it is. And then the FPV air unit comes up, click on it, and then activate your device. This will activate the air unit inside. So you put in your account. I forgot my account. You put in your account, password, and your verification code, then agree to the policy and sign in. So once you have activated your air unit, now you just have to download and update the firmware. You just press the button and it does it automatically for you. Quite simple. It might take a while. So yeah. So now we can pair the air unit. So on the O3, it's a little button on the side, opposite of the USB. And on the, oh that's hot. On the Vista, it's a little button near the USB. So to bind it, you just turn your goggles on. Maybe I can enable some screen recording. So for the goggles, these are the Integras. So you just hold down the power button, I think. So just screen. Can I screen record? No, I can't. So there it is. Okay, held down the power button. Plug this boy in. On the Vista, hold down the back button. Bind button on the Vista. Come on. Oh, beeping stopped. Okay. Yay. Okay. Switch model. Right now it's on the O3 model. We're switching to the Vista. Come on, switcheroo. And once it switches, then the air unit will be paired. So now we'll head to escconfigurator.com, which is the configurator for the BL Heli S ESC. We're going to be flashing BlueJay to it, so plug in USB to the flight controller. Close everything, or else it'll snag the serial port, so close the DJI Assistant and Betaflight. And then we press connect. Oh, I need to connect first. So start screen recording. Okay, so we press connect, then we plug the battery in. And test out the motors if they all spin. Yes, they do. Very nice. So now we read settings. It's reading all the ESCs. It comes with BL Heli S, so we need to flash firmware. So flash all ESCs. And firmware BlueJay. It auto picks the ESC and we select the newest version. PWM frequency, I just do 48 or 24. I usually just pick one of them. I'll go with 24. I don't know why. Oh, 48. I'll go 48. Then flash. and wait for it to flash. It will flash each ESC each at a time. So now it's doing ESC 1 and it's gonna go through all 4 of the ESCs. After we do this, we can do some settings inside the ESC configurator. I like to increase my beep strength because when I crash it, I want to be able to find it. I don't put beepers on my quad. I have the D-Shot beeper thing. I also enable brake on stop. So when you disarm, the motors will automatically like brake, and it says like put all the phases to ground, which will make the motor stop very quickly. So in case it's like about to chop my finger off when I'm hand launching, don't hand launch. It won't, or it'll be quicker to stop. So brake on stop, beep strength higher, startup boost, I'll leave it stock. Now right settings, and then we can disconnect. That's loud. Then I can reconnect and see which motor is spinning which direction. So let's see. So motor 1, 2, 3, and 4. We didn't do any changes to the ESC direction. So motor 1, 2, 3, and 4 should be stock. So I start the master speed to spin the motors up. And then I use my finger to see if they're all spinning the right direction. Wow, okay. So out, out. I run props out. Okay, so all of them are spinning the right direction, which is wonderful. I'll just show you how to change direction. So you have to remember which direction when you start to spin the motors. And you can just switch them in this ESC configurator. But I don't need to because toot, give me a toot toot. Well, it did it for me, so there it is. After this, we can connect to Betaflight, which is good. Okay, so in Betaflight, I'll start screen recording. So first, we didn't do anything to our flight controller yet. So in Betaflight, we will need to flash our firmware. So we go to the firmware flasher, we auto detect. It's check that's right. We have to do the latest, which is 4.5.1 right now. We want Crossfire, D-Shot, everything else. Let's see. We don't need servos, we don't need anything else. So we load firmware, and then we flash firmware. So we don't need to create a backup because we didn't do anything to the flight controller yet. And I just realized my mic was on the floor. At the table. Okay. Is the audio better? So, failed to close use. Okay. Load firmware. We have to redo it. Load firmware and then flash firmware. Okay, there it is. So it'll erase everything inside the flight controller right now and then kaput. Betaflight 4.5.1. After that, we can add our system presets. And yeah, so it's flashing, so it's gonna take a while. So now we connect to Betaflight, and then we need to apply our presets and then calibrate our accelerometer. Since it's on a flat table, we can just press that. And on the ports tab, we check UART1 was the VTX, so MSP display port, very good. And then UART2 needs to be serial RX, which is correct. So that's our receiver. So all correct for the gyro and PID loop, needs to be the same. Then I changed my arming angle to 180 degrees. And I enabled the RX loss and RX set for the beeper, and save and reboot. After that, because we're just working our way down the Betaflight tabs, failsafe, just make sure it's drop. Presets, I add the 150 Hertz Express LRS. So it is a freestyle build, separates serial RX, single cell voltage, pick, and save and reboot. Now, I'm doing this very quickly because I want to go and fly. Okay, so connect again. Now we go to PID tuning. I don't do much. I just usually change the dynamic dampening advanced to 0. Then I save that. And then now I go to my filters. For filters, I turn off gyro low pass 1, and then I change the gyro low pass 2 to a static cutoff frequency to 1000, which is the gyro filter multiplier all the way to less filtering. And then that's pretty much it. And sometimes I just work my D-term multiplier up a little bit. It's a clean build, so I can push it a little bit. And rate profiles, just add your rates. Mine are actual rates. Mine are like elbow rates because they start off like in the center very smooth, and at the ends they're like crazy. So these are my rates. And yeah, those are my rates. Sometimes I mess around with Throttle Expo, but yeah. So receiver, it came with it. So serial, UART, RX, and then Crossfire. That's correct. AETR, that's correct. So now we can turn on our radio.
Welcome to HTX.
And my camera's about to die, so we have to restart the flight controller. So the, what's it called? The little receiver restarts also. Camera's about to die. Okay, 1 second. Okay, so it's bound up with the binding phrase, so make sure all the channels are correct, and yes, they are. So now in modes, I enable my classic modes, which are ARM. I'll just do it very quickly. Angle mode.
Flight mode acro.
And then horizon mode.
Flight mode horizon.
I don't use horizon mode, but I put it there because it's easy to put it there. Okay, then what else? Flip over after crash.
Turtle mode on.
My pre-arm.
Pre-arm active.
Oh wait, pre-arm the other way. And I need my launch control.
Launch mode
Okay, save and hide and use modes.
off.
Hide and use modes. Yeah, seems correct. Okay, and for motors, we D-Shot 300, and I enable bidirectional D-Shot. Save and reboot, and then we go back to the PID tuning tab and set my dynamic idle to 35, which is 35,000 RPM as my idle. So my OSD, I usually paste in my OSD, my classic OSD into the CLI, which is this. It's in the description. Come on, I noted you down somewhere. And you can just paste this into the CLI. So let's go to the CLI. It's this, paste, and it should save and reboot. So now you can go check in the OSD. It should be all configured. There it is, very nice. And video transmitter, it's in the OSD. I don't need LED strip, so it should be good. And in the command line, you could type like some things inside if you want some features like crash recovery or toss launching. And I need to read my script because I can't remember this. So I don't enable any of these features, but if you want to, crash recovery is set crash underscore recovery equals on, which will disable the PID loop at minimum throttle, so you can hand launch safely. And if you want to enable a new Betaflight 4.5 mode called Easy Landing. You can set the, in the CLI, set mixer type equals, easy landing, yeah. So set mixer underscore type equals easy landing. And that will make your air mode less if your pitch stick is like centered in the middle, which will make it easier to land. But I just land gently and it doesn't freak out the air mode. So speaking about air mode, we need to make sure that air mode is on permanently, which is. So that's pretty good. If I want to pit tune, I can, but usually I don't because I end up burning motors because I don't fly with perfect props all the time. So that's my basic setup. So I guess we're ready to fly. I'll just double check my motors, which way they're spinning. So get a battery, plug it in. And then just spin the motors up. That is loud. And see if it's spinning the right way. Correct, 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 correct. Oh, I need to reverse my motor direction. Save and reboot, and we are done with the setup. So let's put some props on and let's go flying. So when you start, you have to arm and do some final testing to see if the motors are spinning the right way. If it freaks out, the motors or the props are on the wrong side direction. So now we'll hover test. So, all good, it's ready to fly. I would like to thank everybody for watching this video, and I hope it was helpful in building this quad. It was kind of a quick tutorial or like a guide through. And I have another quad to fly. I hope you guys have one also. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye.